Good evening, dear children. We can continue the lesson gravitation. Okay, and today class we are going to discuss about the topic weightlessness. Weightlessness. Okay, a body is said to be in the state of weightlessness when the reaction of the supporting surface is zero or its apparent weight is zero. Okay, how a body actually feel weightlessness. Under two condition, when the reaction of the supporting surface is zero, if the reaction of the supporting surface is zero or its apparent weight is zero, apparent weight is actually it is not the true weight, its apparent weight is zero. Okay, a body is said to be in the state of weightlessness when the reaction of the supporting surface is zero or its apparent weight is zero. Okay, and here the body, a body can be in the state of weightlessness under the following two circumstances. First is actually a body can be feel weightlessness in a freely falling lift. In a freely falling lift. Actually, in a freely falling lift, a body or an object feels weightlessness. Okay, here we are considering a person of true weight mg, standing in a lift and which is moving vertically downwards with the acceleration a. A lift which is moving vertically downwards with acceleration a. Okay, consider a person of true weight mg. He is standing in a lift which is moving downwards with the vertically downwards with the acceleration a. Then we know the reaction of the floor on the man. Okay, that is taken as R. Let R be the reaction of the floor on the man. Okay, that is his weight is acting vertically downwards on the floor. Okay, and the normal reaction is acting vertically upward. That is taken as R. Then we can written as mg minus R, that is equal to actually ma. Okay, mg minus R equal to what? M into A. Okay, mg minus R is equal to what? M into A. Therefore, we can write the apparent weight. Apparent weight actually that is equal to the normal reaction R. Okay, the apparent weight. So, we can write apparent weight is actually R. That is equal to mg. From this equation R goes right side and this ma come left side. So, mg minus ma equal to what? R. So, m into g minus a equal to R. We got m into g minus a is equal to R. Suppose if the cable of the lift break, it begins to fall freely. If the cable of the lift breaks, it begins to fall freely. In that time, A becomes equal to G. Okay, A becomes equal to what? G. Therefore, we got R equal to what? 0. Okay, R equal to 0. Thus, the apparent weight of the man is actually 0. The apparent weight of the man is actually 0. So, both the man and the lift are moving downwards with the same acceleration. Okay, both the man and the lift are moving downwards with the same acceleration G. Okay, so no force of action and no force of reaction between them because they are moves with the same acceleration. Okay, so there is no force of action and no force of reaction between them. Hence the man falling freely develops the feel of weightlessness. Okay, hence the man falling freely, he develops the feeling of what? Weightlessness. Listen to it. Here we are considering a situation, a man in a freely falling lift, feel how does he feels weightlessness. Okay, here we are considering a person of true weight, actually mg. He is standing in a lift which is moving vertically downwards with the acceleration a. If R is the reaction of the floor on the man, then we can write mg minus R is equal to m into a. Therefore, its apparent weight, that is equal to the normal reaction R, which is equal to m into g minus a. If the cable of the lift breaks, it begins to fall freely. So, in that case, A is equal to G. In that case, A equal to G. So, the apparent weight or the reaction is equal to 0. Thus, the apparent weight of the man is actually what? 0. So, both the man and the lift are moving downwards with the same acceleration. Okay, therefore, no force of action and a reaction between them. Hence, a man falling freely develops the feeling of weightlessness. Okay, that is about the how a man feels weightlessness in a freely falling lift. Okay, next situation we can consider inside a spacecraft. Inside a spacecraft. Here we are consider a spacecraft revolving around the Earth in an orbit of radius r. Consider a spacecraft which is revolving around the Earth in an orbit of radius r. G of the satellite is actually the expression for acceleration due to gravity, gm by r square. Okay, acceleration of the satellite is actually gm by r square, which is acting towards Earth. This acceleration is always towards the Earth, where m, capital M, that represents the mass of Earth. Capital M represents the mass of Earth. Okay. Next, we are assuming that a body of mass m, lies on an inside surface of satellite. Consider a body of mass m lies on an inside surface of satellite. Then what is the force acting on the body actually? What is the force acting on the body? What are the different forces acting on the body? First is the gravitational pull of Earth. Gravitational pull of Earth, that can be written as the help of universal law of gravitation, that is actually gmm by r square. That thing the gravitational pull of Earth, that is gmm by r square. Next, the reaction force F of the surface. Reaction force F on the surface, that thing Okay, the R, the reaction surface, the reaction of the surface, that is written as R. Then we can write by Newton's second law, actually gmm by r square minus r is equal to what? Acceleration. Sorry, Newton's satellite is ma. Okay, that is gmm by r square minus r is equal to m into a. Then we can write gmm by r square minus r is equal to m into, instead of this acceleration, we can write gm by r square, that is actually equal to gmm divided by r square, gmm divided by r square, and these two cancels, and reaction we got the reaction r as 0. Thus the surface does not exert any force on the body. Here we got the normal reaction force r equal to 0, that is the surface does not exert any force on the body, and hence its apparent weight is 0. Hence its apparent weight is 0. That is why an astronaut sees all the bodies floating weightlessness inside a spacecraft. Listen to it. That is why an astronaut sees all the bodies floating weightlessness inside the spacecraft. Listen to it. That is about the situation inside a spacecraft. Here we are considering a spacecraft revolving around the Earth in an orbit of radius r. Okay, acceleration of the satellite is actually gm by r square, which is acting towards the center of Earth, where m represents the mass of Earth. Next, we are assuming that a body of mass m lies on the inside surface of satellite. Then what are the forces acting on the body actually? First, the gravitational pull of Earth, that is actually gmm by r square. Next, the normal reaction r. Okay, then by Newton's second law we can write gmm by r square minus r is equal to m into a. Gmm by r square minus r is equal to m into a. And here instead of a we can write gm acceleration. Here the acceleration is due to the earth gravitational force. So we can write instead of a it is gm by r square. So gmm by r square minus r is equal to m into gm by r square. And so actually it is gmm by r square. These two cancels and we got the normal reaction r is equal to 0. Thus the surface does not exert any force on the body. Hence its apparent weight is 0. Okay, that is why an astronaut sees all the bodies floating weightlessness inside a spacecraft. Okay, hence an astronaut, that is why an astronaut sees all the bodies floating weightless inside the spacecraft. Okay, that is about actually about what weightlessness. How an object feels weightlessness. Actually, an object is said to be in the state of weightlessness when the apparent weight is zero or the normal reaction of the supporting surface is zero. Okay, and here we discussed two situations, that is in how a man feels weightlessness inside a freely falling lift, and how a body, an object, feels weightlessness inside a spacecraft. Okay, okay children, that is about what weightlessness. Okay, also we have finished the lesson. Next we can start the new lesson, problems that we can do on next class. Okay, okay children, next we can start new lesson, that is oscillations. Okay, actually the problems are remaining in the chapter gravitation, that thing we can do on next class. Okay, let's start the new lesson, oscillations. Okay, then first we can talk about periodic or harmonic motion. Okay, periodic or harmonic motion. Actually, you heard about periodic motion. What is mean by actually periodic motion? Any motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time is called actually periodic or harmonic motion. Any motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time. Okay, any motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time, that is actually called periodic or harmonic motion. You know the examples for periodic motion actually, you know the motion of planet around the sun. Okay, the motion of planets around the sun, or the heartbeat of a human being. The heartbeat of a human being, actually this actually periodic motion, it repeats at regular intervals of time, that is 8 seconds every. Okay, also the motion of Halley's comet around the sun. The motion of Halley's comet around the sun. These are examples for actually periodic motion. Okay, that is any motion that repeats itself at the regular intervals of time. That is actually called periodic or harmonic motion. Next, you know, oscillatory motion. Okay, oscillatory motion actually. That is, suppose if a body moves to and fro. Okay, you know the motion of swing. It moves to and fro about a mean position. Then its motion is called oscillatory motion. If an object or a body moves to and fro repeatedly or to and fro periodically about a mean position. If a body moves to and fro periodically about a mean position, then its motion is called oscillatory motion. For example, the motion of swing, you know, that is an example for about oscillatory motion. Or the motion of pendulum of a wall clock. Okay, the motion of pendulum of a wall clock, or the vibrations of strings of guitar. Okay, the vibrations of the strings of guitar. These are examples for actually oscillatory motion. Okay, that is a body moves to and fro as repeatedly about a about a mean position. Then its motion is actually oscillatory, isn't it? And we can say every oscillatory motion is necessarily periodic. Every oscillatory motion is necessarily what? Periodic. That is, every oscillatory motion that repeats at regular intervals of time. So it must be periodic motion. But every periodic motion is not necessarily oscillatory. Okay, every periodic motion is not necessarily what? Oscillatory. Okay, but every oscillatory motion is necessarily periodic motion. That is, it should repeat at regular intervals of time. Okay, but every periodic motion is not necessarily what? It should be oscillatory motion. For example, we can consider, you know, Earth completes one revolution around the sun in 1 year. Okay, that is actually periodic motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time. Earth completes one revolution around the sun in 1 year, but it is not oscillatory. That means the revolution of Earth is not to and fro about a mean position, about a mean position. And so it is not oscillatory motion, but it is periodic motion. But it is what? Periodic motion. In oscillatory motion, there should be a mean position. It is bounded by a what? Mean position. Okay. So we can say But every oscillatory motion is periodic, but every periodic motion is not necessarily, it should be an oscillatory motion. Isn't it? That is actually the difference between periodic motion and oscillatory motion. Next about periodic function. Periodic function. Actually periodic motion that can be represented, mathematically represented in terms of periodic function. Okay, that is actually any function that repeats itself its value at the regular intervals of its argument. That is actually called a periodic function. Okay, any function that repeats its value at any function that repeats its value at the regular intervals of time. Okay, at regular intervals of its argument, that is actually called the periodic function. Any function that repeats its value at the regular intervals of its change in intervals of its argument, that is actually called the periodic function. Periodic function can be generally represented as f of t. Actually, it is just a function that is in terms of sine or cosine function. We can represent the periodic function in terms of sine or cosine function. Actually, that takes a generalized form. F of t is equal to sine omega t. Okay, that represents a periodic function. F of t is equal to sine omega t. Then instead of omega, we know the value of omega. Actually, it is 2 pi by t. So sine 2 pi by t into t. Also, we can represent the periodic function in terms of cos function. That can be written as g of t is equal to cos omega t. Instead of omega, we can write 2 pi by t. So cos 2 pi by t into t. These are actually periodic function. Okay, that is f of t is equal to sin omega t, or g of t is equal to cos omega t. Then we can represent the variation of periodic function with the time. Variation of periodic function with the time. Okay, this is actually the sine or cosine variation. Okay, actually when the oscillation, the periodic function that comes here, it completes on oscillation. Actually here it is e by 2, here the time period is t. Here it completes on oscillation. Next it is, here it is 3t by 2, and here it is completes next oscillation, that is 2t. Okay, actually this is the graphical representation of the periodic function, the variation of periodic function with the time. Okay, that is actually about periodic function. That is any function that repeats its value at a regular intervals of its argument. That is actually called the periodic function. Generally, the periodic function can be represented as f of t is equal to sin omega t. Then instead of omega, we can write 2 pi by t. So we got sin 2 pi by t into t. Okay, then g of t is equal to cos omega t, then cos 2 pi by t into t, where omega the angular velocity and capital T that represents the time period. Next we can represent the variation of periodic function with the time. This is actually the this graph that shows the variation of periodic function with the time. Okay, that is about periodic function. Next we can talk about simple harmonic motion. Simple harmonic motion, that is SHM. Simple harmonic motion, SHM. Okay. That is how we can say a particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion. How we can say a particle that is said to execute simple harmonic motion. Actually, the first condition is it should move to and from about a mean position. A particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion. It should move to and from about a mean position. It should move to and from about a mean position under the action of restoring force. Okay, under the action of what? Restoring force. Actually, you heard about restoring force. Okay, actually in elasticity you learn about restoring force. That is where when we stretch a rubber band or a stretch a spring, an internal force is developed. Okay, on the spring, this tries to bring back the spring its original position. That is actually the restoring force. Okay, when we stretch a spring, then what will happen? Against the stretching force, an internal force is developed on the spring which tries to bring back the spring in its original position. That is actually what the restoring force. Here also when we displace the particle from its main position, an internal force is actually developed in that particle which tries to bring back the particle to its main position. Okay, so here the object moves to and fro about the mean position. It is actually under the influence of what the restoring force. Okay, which is actually directly proportional to the restoring force is directly proportional to what the displacement from the mean position. The restoring force is directly proportional to what the displacement from the mean position. Okay, actually it is always directed towards the mean position. Okay, that is the displacement is actually in this direction. The restoring force is always towards the mean position. The restoring force is always towards the mean position. Okay, that is actually simple harmonic motion. A particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion if it moves to and fro about a mean position under the influence of what the restoring force, and which is directly proportional to the displacement from the mean position, and it always acts towards the mean position. Okay, so we can write the restoring force. Restoring force proportional to what displacement. Okay, the restoring force is proportional to what displacement. Here the displacement is taken as x. So we can write F proportional x, or as F is equal to constant k into x. F is equal to constant k into x, where k is the proportionality constant which is called the force constant. Where k is the proportionality constant which is called what? Force constant. Here also we are putting a negative sign. F is equal to minus kx because the restoring force and displacement are in opposite direction. Here the restoring force and displacement are in opposite direction. So here we are putting a negative sign. Okay, actually this equation shows the expression for simple harmonic motion. F equal to minus kx. F equal to minus kx, actually that represents what the simple harmonic motion. Okay, a particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion if it moves to and fro. A particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion if it moves to and fro about a mean position under the influence of the restoring force, and which is directly proportional to displacement from the mean position, and this force acts always towards the mean position, and this force always acts towards the mean position. So we can write the restoring force is proportional to displacement, that is F proportional x, or F is equal to constant k into x, where k is the force constant. Actually it is the proportionality constant which is called the force constant. Okay, and also here we are putting a negative sign, so we got F equal to minus kx. The negative sign shows that the restoring force and displacement are in opposite direction. Okay, the negative sign shows that the displacement and the restoring force are in opposite direction. Actually F equal to minus kx, that represents the equation for what? The simple harmonic motion. Okay, next we can define force constant. Next we can define what? The force constant. Okay, here we are considering the equation for SHM, that is F equal to minus kx. F is equal to minus kx. From this the force constant k is equal to F by x. The force constant k is equal to F by x. That is, it is the force constant is defined as the restoring force produced per unit displacement. Okay, the restoring force produced per unit displacement is called the force constant. Okay, what is mean by force constant? The restoring force produced per unit displacement is called the force constant. That is k equal to F by x. Okay, the restoring force produced per unit displacement is actually the force constant k equal to F by x. Then what is the unit of force constant? You know the unit of force. What is its unit? Newton. Okay, then displacement is actually meter. For Newton per meter. Okay, Newton per meter is the unit of force constant. Okay, you know the negative sign indicates what? The restoring force and displacement are in opposite direction. Okay, the negative sign in the equation for simple harmonic motion shows that the force and displacement are in opposite direction. Isn't it? Next we can say, according to Newton's second law, you know, F equal to what? mass into acceleration, that is you know. By Newton's second law, you know F equal to ma. This is also equation for force and this is also for force. Let it consider equation 1 and 2. That is F equal to minus kx, that is equation number 1, and F equal to ma, that is equation number 2. Then we can equate equation 1 and 2. That is ma is equal to, we can write what ma is equal to minus kx. Okay, ma is equal to minus kx, or k is equal to minus k by m into x. Okay, acceleration A is equal to minus a k by m into x. You know, k is constant, force constant, or the mass of the particle is also constant. So the acceleration is proportional to what we got, displacement x. Okay. So in the case of simple harmonic motion, the acceleration is proportional to displacement. That is the necessary condition for a motion should become equal to the simple harmonic motion. Okay, the acceleration is proportional to displacement. A is proportional to x. Okay. Okay, you know the restoring force F is equal to minus kx. From this, the force constant K is equal to F by x. That is, the force constant is defined as the restoring force per unit displacement. Okay, and here, and what is its unit? Newton per meter. Then F equal to minus kx, that is equation number 1. Then by Newton's second law, you know the equation for force F equal to ma. That is equation number 2. Then comparing 1 and 2, we can write ma equal to minus kx. Then acceleration A is equal to minus k by m into x. You know, k and m are constants. So A proportional to x. That is, in simple harmonic motion, the acceleration is proportional to displacement. In simple harmonic motion, we prove that the acceleration is proportional to what? Displacement. That is a necessary condition for a motion become simple harmonic motion. Okay, the acceleration is proportional to displacement. Okay, then you know the examples for simple harmonic motion in oscillation of loaded spring. Oscillation of loaded spring is an example for simple harmonic motion. Then vibrations of tuning fork. Vibrations of tuning fork is an example for simple harmonic motion, or oscillations of simple pendulum. Okay, these are actually examples for simple harmonic motion. Oscillations of loaded spring, oscillations of loaded spring, then vibrations of tuning fork, vibrations of tuning fork, then oscillations of simple pendulum are examples for what? Simple harmonic motion. Okay children, in today's class we have learned about what? The difference between periodic motion and oscillatory motion. Okay, periodic motion, a motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time. But oscillatory motion is to and fro motion is actually oscillatory motion. Okay, all oscillatory motions are necessarily periodic motion, but no, all periodic motions are not necessarily to become oscillatory motion. Okay, then we have learned about periodic function. Okay, that is any function that repeats itself at any function that its value repeats itself at its argument, that is actually called what? Periodic function. Periodic function can be represented as f of t is equal to sin omega t, or g of t is equal to cos omega t. Okay, then we have learned simple harmonic motion. Okay, how we can say an object is said to execute simple harmonic motion if it moves to and fro. A particle is said to execute simple harmonic motion if it moves to and fro about a mean position under the action of a restoring force, and it is directly proportional to the displacement from the mean position, and this restoring force is always acts towards the mean position. So we can write f proportional to x, or f is equal to minus ax. Okay, where k is the proportionality constant, which is called the force constant. So force constant is defined as the restoring force per unit displacement, that is k equal to f by x. Then we obtain the condition for a motion become what? Simple harmonic, where the acceleration is proportional to displacement. Okay, okay children, that is the end of today's class. Okay.